The interstate system is an absolutely amazing part of America, sending drivers across the country with extreme efficiency. No matter what your overall thoughts on the system is, there's no denying its positive effect on the country. Some interstates are not as helpful for the country as others, though, wasting valuable government dollars in construction and upkeep. So today we're going to be talking about the most useless interstates.
But you know what isn't useless? Atlas VPN. Yep, that's right, guys. We have our first ever sponsorship on the channel. The year is 2022, a time where the internet is a major part of everyone's day-to-day life. In this world, VPNs are seriously something everyone should have. What if you're traveling abroad and want to watch some Netflix, but your favorite show is blocked in that region? Atlas VPN can make it extremely easy to fix that. Simply turn on the VPN and switch your location to the US of A. And Atlas VPN is running a huge discount as well. It means you can get a 3-year subscription for just $183 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Time is running out, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below. Atlas VPN blocks malicious links, ads, and trackers, and notifies you when someone is attempting to steal your data, helps you to get the best deals while shopping online, and protects all your devices with a single subscription. Once again, right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. It means you can get a 3-year subscription for just $183 a month with a 30-day money-back guaranteed. Time is running out, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below. This is my first ever sponsorship, and I'd love if it went well. So let's show Atlas VPN some love. Thank you.
So this is I-185. It's part of the Greenville, South Carolina Beltway, going around the southern region of the metropolitan area. At first glance, this is a confusing pick. It's serving a growing metropolitan area, helping economic expansion in the outskirts of the city. And I'll agree that the road itself is completely fine and serves a use. But I'm more worried about something else that ruins it for me. See, I-185 is a toll road. This means, obviously, you need to pay to drive on it. But if you look at it on a map, you can see it doesn't really serve any purpose that makes it worth spending money to drive on. You aren't bypassing the city or saving time. In most situations, it's only useful when going somewhere in the area of the highway. Now, the history of this does somewhat explain it. The original plan for I-85 was to go through the downtown, and I-185 would bypass the city. This would make it a quicker option for people wanting to go around downtown Greenville. But then a major theme with a lot of these interstates came along. That being freeway revolters. They didn't want to see an interstate going through the downtown area, so it was forced to the more undeveloped areas in the southern part of the metro. This meant their plan for I-185 wouldn't work, because building farther west wouldn't serve much of a purpose, but they still decided to make the toll road. Now, to say this didn't work would be an understatement. The project took around $50 million to build, and they were expecting to make that money back fairly quickly, but right now the highway only makes $1 million per year. Meaning it won't be paid back for decades to come. This highway is now mostly abandoned, with only a few cars taking the route. This was an epic failure of an interstate, and my personal advice would be accepting defeat and removing the tolls on the road. This would give it a purpose and would bring a lot more traffic to the route. Next up, we have I-172 in Illinois. This is near the Quincy-Hannibal area, two cities that are not necessarily thriving economically. Illinois as a state has a lot of stuff like this, because when the interstate system was first being built and expanded, the state had a lot of political power. This meant it could basically get whatever roads it wanted, because politicians were looking to please them. I-172 was one of those roads. Originally, it was I-72 that ended in Quincy, but around the turn of the century, it was expanded over the border to an even smaller town in Hannibal. This meant the route to Quincy could be converted over to a spur route, creating I-172. Now, the whole route from Springfield to Hannibal and Quincy seems unwarranted. Sure, it may have helped the two cities grow because they were on a major interstate, but the government dollars it took to build the route definitely makes you think differently about the whole situation. Staying in Illinois, we have I-180, probably the most iconic interstate on this whole YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it already, I've made a full video just on this highway, because it has more interesting story than any others in the country, and I really do suggest you watch that video if you haven't already. But for this, I'll give a quick rundown of the route. So I-180 has a similar story to I-172 in theory, being a political tool. See, there was a steel plant in Hennepin, and an Illinois senator wanted a spur route down to it. So he negotiated a 13-mile interstate down to the small town of Hennepin, Illinois. But here's a catch. A few years after I-180 was constructed and opened, the steel plant closed down. This meant the interstate now served no purpose but connecting a town of 800 people to I-80. It's been around 60 years now, and it's still completely useless. Next up, we have I-990 in New York. This one is particularly annoying to me, because it's a direct consequence of bad planning on the part of the state. So it's located in the Buffalo area, coming out of the city's beltway. It then travels just 6 miles northeast before ending. Now, the way it ends is a main telling point here, because it's in a way where it's obvious some sort of plan fell through and the highway was meant to be expanded farther. You can almost always tell when it looks unnatural and comes to a sudden stop, and especially when there are remnants of construction that would indicate the expansion of the road. So looking into the history, it's pretty easy to figure out what happened. Originally, it was meant to connect in Lockport to a proposed Niagara Falls-Rochester Expressway. Now, that plan ended up falling through, but not before they started building the connecting highway. This meant they had a 6-mile freeway that served absolutely no purpose but running adjacent to the Millersport Highway in a more squiggly way. Now, unlike the other highways, I-990 actually has a fairly decent amount of traffic using it, but still not enough to warrant the cost of construction and upkeep. For the final highway of this video, we move to the 44,000 population city of Bristol, specifically on the smaller Virginia side, where we find I-381, the spur route that runs under a mile and has 0 interchanges, ending at the first intersection it encounters. This interstate shares the highway with State Route 381 for the entire time, meaning it would be incredibly easy to just get rid of the interstate and only use the state route. Now, it wasn't always this bad. It was actually much worse back in the 1960s. Back then, it was only a T interchange, meaning you could only go north coming off of I-381, and only get onto I-381 if you were going north on I-81. They later changed this, but it doesn't make it any less insane. The interstate system continues to have portions that are not necessarily the golden standard on how to design roads, but overall, it's an absolutely amazing feat, and shows what America can do at its best. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the channel members Carport, Dominic Psyche, Jeremy Crone, Rosebud4, Aaron Washington, and Bryson. I really appreciate you guys, and I love that you're supporting the channel. If you want to become a channel member, there's a link in the description below, as well as the button next to the subscribe button. It's just an extra way of giving back to the channel, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.